Wormwood, bitter, silver-leafed, and fiercely aromatic, was once a household weapon against vermin thought to live inside the human body. In early medicine, parasites weren't just a medical idea. They were believed to hide in the gut and slowly steal strength, cause stomach cramps, disturb sleep, and turn ordinary life into a cycle of discomfort. People blamed unclean water, spoiled food, and even bad air, then looked for a plant so bitter it could purge the body back to balance. Doctors and herbal healers prepared wormwood with the care of pharmacists, but without modern drugs. Dried wormwood leaves were steeped into a strong, bitter infusion or brewed into a concentrate, sometimes combined with warm water and honey to make it easier to take. In other cases, they used carefully measured powders or decoctions, slowly simmered so the plant's active bitter compounds could be drawn out. The goal wasn't magic, it was simple physiology in their terms. Bitterness was believed to stimulate digestion, increase bile flow, and help the body expel harmful organisms through the intestines. They applied this remedy in a very practical way. Patients would drink the prepared wormwood solution at set times, often on an empty stomach, and then monitor symptoms closely: cramps, stool changes, and overall energy, because in that era there were no lab tests to prove what was inside. The whole process fit everyday life. Families gathered herbs, measured doses by tradition, and treated at home when sickness struck, long before antibiotics and lab-verified antiparasitic pills existed. Today we understand parasites differently. Many infections are caused by identifiable organisms with specific life cycles, and treatment is guided by modern medicines designed to target them directly. Still, wormwood's historical use shows a real clue. Bitter plant compounds can affect the digestive tract and may have some antimicrobial or antiparasitic activity. The question that still pulls us in is simple and urgent. Could this ancient, bitter purge have helped, even partially, against the parasites people believed were making them sick? Why wormwood was used against parasites? Wormwood was used against parasites largely because the plant's bitter compounds were believed to drive out unwanted organisms from the gut. Long before laboratory tests and modern stool exams, healers observed that people who felt chronic stomach upset, weight loss, or unusual digestive patterns sometimes improved after taking strongly bitter herbs. In simple medical terms, bitterness was treated as a signal to stimulate digestion and to make the intestinal environment less comfortable for the kinds of worms people thought were living inside them. Early medical thinking often involved the idea that parasites were not only present in the body, but also caused the body to become off balance. Some believed parasites spread through contaminated food and water, while others suspected they developed from bad humors or sluggish digestion. Wormwood fit naturally into that worldview because it was intensely bitter and was repeatedly used when practitioners wanted to provoke a strong digestive response. Even without knowing the organism's life cycles, people linked persistent symptoms to an internal infestation, so they reached for remedies that were thought to cleanse the intestines. Daily life made this approach feel practical in early medicine. Wormwood was commonly available as an herb, and its taste and smell stood out from milder teas or syrups, so it was an easy choice when someone wanted a strong treatment. Family healers might steep wormwood in hot water, then strain it and take small measured doses, using it as a controlled, routine remedy rather than a vague home cure. Because there were few pharmaceutical tools, bitter herbal regimens became a way to manage illness with what could be gathered, prepared, and repeated at home. Compared with modern knowledge, the traditional logic is only partly aligned with today's science. Modern antiparasitic medicines are targeted drugs that work against specific parasites, and their use is guided by diagnosis, often identifying eggs or organisms in stool samples and then choosing the appropriate medication. Wormwood's historical use does not map neatly onto that precision, and its effectiveness for specific parasites is not the same as the clear, evidence-based actions of modern treatments. Still, the underlying observation, using a plant remedy during chronic gut symptoms thought to be caused by parasites, connects to a real medical concern. Intestinal parasites can cause digestive distress, and people historically tried to relieve it with the strongest available means. How wormwood was given to patients. Wormwood, Artemisia absinthium, was used in older medical practice as a bitter, cleansing remedy when people suspected intestinal parasites. Early practitioners commonly believed that worms could grow inside the body because of contaminated food, unclean water, or miasma-like bad air, and they often linked symptoms like stomach upset, itching, or unexplained weight loss to living pests. While modern medicine explains parasites using specific organisms and life cycles, traditional care relied heavily on careful observation of symptoms and the belief that strong plant bitterness could restore internal balance and drive out unwanted residents. Doctors and herbalists typically prepared wormwood so it could be taken in a form that extracted its active compounds and was easy for the patient to swallow. They often used dried wormwood leaves, steeped them to make a tea or tincture, or blended them into a simple herbal mixture with other digestive herbs. Because the plant is notably bitter, dosing usually focused on tolerability. Patients were guided to take small, regular amounts rather than large swallows, since excessive bitterness could cause nausea and worsen stomach irritation. In everyday terms, many patients treated it like a strong digestive tonic, taken before or after meals, because early medicine lacked standardized antiparasitic drugs and instead emphasized supporting digestion as the route to removal. A common approach was to combine wormwood's bitterness with dietary tightening during the same period. Practitioners expected that a cleaner, simpler diet would reduce irritation in the gut and make it easier for the body to expel parasites, even though the mechanism was framed differently than in modern parasitology. Some caregivers also advised warm preparations or gentle routines, such as rest and attention to hygiene, because parasite suspicion was often connected to habits like handling raw foods and bathing practices. The remedy was less about a single targeted kill and more about creating conditions the body could clear, a worldview shaped by the absence of lab-based tests and pharmaceuticals. Compared with today's antiparasitic medicines, wormwood use looks more indirect. Modern treatment targets specific parasites using well-studied drugs with known effects on parasite survival, and clinicians confirm infection with diagnostic testing when possible. Traditional wormwood practice, by contrast, was guided by symptom-based reasoning and the plant's strong bitter profile, which was assumed to encourage expulsion from the intestines. Even when wormwood may act in ways that affect gut environment or certain microorganisms, the historic method of giving it as a broad herbal cleansing reflects an older medical landscape where certainty about the exact parasite was rare and the remedy had to work without precise identification. Did wormwood actually kill parasites? Wormwood, Artemisia absinthium, was long used in traditional medicine because people believed parasites could live in the intestines and cause symptoms like itching, irregular appetite, abdominal discomfort, and restlessness. Early physicians and healers also described a more general idea: bad humors and worms formed inside the body when digestion was weak, and a bitter plant could purge the harmful occupants. Wormwood's strong, bitter taste mattered in these explanations, since bitterness was thought to stimulate digestive juices and drive out unwanted growths. The key question, whether wormwood actually killed parasites, depends on what parasites means and what evidence is being considered. Wormwood contains active compounds such as thujone and other bitter constituents, and modern lab research has shown that some plant compounds can interfere with biological processes in microorganisms and some parasites. But traditional remedies were usually taken as teas, infusions, or tinctures without standardized dosing, and most historical accounts focused on observing symptom relief rather than confirming parasites were eliminated. In practical medical terms, symptom improvement does not automatically prove that a parasite died. Diarrhea, reduced bloating, or appetite changes can happen for many reasons, including changes to gut motility or irritation of the digestive tract. Traditional preparations often started with careful sourcing of the herb and then creating a concentrated bitter. Healers commonly used a dried leaf or measured herb to steep in hot water for an infusion, or they prepared an alcohol-based tincture to extract the plant's bitter constituents more strongly. Dosing practices varied widely, but the typical approach was short-term cleansing aimed at the gut. The person would take the bitter preparation, sometimes alongside simple diet changes, then watch for signs that the body had expelled worms. People believed that the medicine worked by making the intestinal environment hostile and by stimulating digestion so that parasites could not cling or survive. It's also important to separate how wormwood was used from what modern antiparasitic medicine is designed to do. Current antiparasitic drugs are tested against specific organisms, given measured doses, and evaluated for cure rates using direct tests rather than symptom-based clues. Wormwood, by contrast, was used as a digestive bitter and deworming folk remedy, and its effects could include both possible antiparasitic activity and gastrointestinal irritation that might make the body feel cleansed. Modern knowledge doesn't rely on bitter purge logic alone. Clinicians treat confirmed infections with targeted medications, especially when parasites are proven by stool testing or other diagnostics. Still, the historical use of wormwood fits a time when everyday observation drove medical decisions. A strong bitter tea after meals or during discomfort was part of home medicine because pharmaceuticals weren't available, and people tried to link visible symptoms, like stomach upset or changes in stool, to remedies from nearby plants. Wormwood's reputation as a dewormer came from repeated household experiences and the plausible biological idea that certain bitter compounds could affect gut-dwelling organisms. Whether wormwood truly killed parasites in a reliable way is uncertain in the strict modern sense, but it likely exerted biological effects that could be harmful to some parasites, while symptom relief could also occur without actual parasite eradication. Centuries ago, people didn't have microscopes, pills, or lab tests, but they noticed a pattern. Certain stomach troubles, weight loss, and itching seemed to come and go, and they blamed tiny seed-like creatures living inside the body. In early medical thinking, parasites weren't just a nuisance. They were seen as intruders that feeds on the body and disrupts digestion. Wormwood became one of the most trusted plant remedies for chasing them out. Doctors and healers prepared wormwood in practical ways. They dried the leaves and stems, then made a bitter infusion or a stronger decoction by simmering the plant in water. Because wormwood's taste is sharp and intensely bitter, it was believed to wake up the stomach and help drive out unwanted life. In some traditions, the remedy was taken as a measured dose on an empty stomach or combined into a small course, rather than a one-time drink, so the body had repeated support while symptoms were monitored. For some patients, the bitter liquid was also paired with simple diet changes, lighter meals, fewer sweets, and careful hydration, aiming to make the digestive tract less welcoming. It's easy to picture everyday life here. Before pharmaceuticals, medicine grew from what people could gather, store, and measure. Wormwood was familiar, found in gardens and fields, and its strong bitterness made it memorable, almost like a signal that the treatment was working. The idea wasn't magic. It was a direct, body-focused routine using the tools available: plant strength, careful dosing, and time. Now, modern knowledge adds a clearer view. We know parasites are specific organisms, and today doctors treat them with targeted antiparasitic drugs chosen based on the exact parasite type. Traditional wormwood use overlaps with one key modern idea. Many plants contain bioactive compounds that can affect parasites, but today's medicine is more precise, tested, and safer in dosing. Wormwood's historical role helps explain why it remained popular. Even without modern science, people recognized that bitterness could strongly influence the gut environment and symptoms. So here's the takeaway. Wormwood was used as a bitter, repeated remedy, prepared as tea or simmered liquid, based on early beliefs that parasites could live inside the body and disrupt health. You can connect this history to today by thinking about how your own habits matter, what you eat, how you tolerate your stomach, and how important it is to match treatment to the problem rather than guess. If you want to keep exploring, the next video will follow one more step forward: how later thinkers began to separate parasite suspicion from actual evidence, and how that shift led from plant traditions to the first truly targeted antiparasitic medicines.